Morning, beloveds. I'm running a little behind this morning. My husband said something to me, and I was like, yeah, I should get out of bed. And then one of the cats came up and laid on me. And when I had my knee surgery 15 or so years ago, we took to calling one of my cats Fluffy White Valium, because when I had my knee surgery for a week, the pain pills would take the edge off, but not really do anything. So it was just it's easier and safer for me to sleep. And she wouldn't get off of me. She was on my chest, in my face, just not, she was like there. And so I got used to whenever she would lay on me falling asleep. And now any of the cats will do it. And so he came in and laid down, and I was like, and I struggled not to go to sleep. Finally, I just had to ask him to move. I was like, nope, I gotta get up. So yeah, but this is the last day of March. We are finishing up the month of love in February. Oh my goodness. I tell you, February has honestly been I know it's the shortest month, but it's also been the longest month. Oh, Lord. Okay. Yes. February. It is February. So we are finishing up the month of love, February, which is the month of love in the 365 Signs of Mind. So we're gonna finish that up today. And we'll do March. And March will be the end, because I will have done 365 Science of Mind through March. So, yeah, we'll move on. Which means I need to find that other book that John suggested for me. All right, today is February 28th, and our title is I Form a New Concept of God. Our Bible quote is, "We shall be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye." And that is from 1 Corinthians, I think that says 15, 51 and 52. The power of life within you is a spiritual power, able to bring to you permanent peace, increasing happiness and joy, and a greater material abundance. These things that have made man miserable can be eliminated through the conscious use of this power. God could not visit fear or hate or impoverishment upon you, because God transcends those things. The world needs a new concept of God. A new idea must be born in the minds of people everywhere about the nature of God and their relationship to this divine creative spirit. The only thing that can bring love, joy, peace, and prosperity to the world is a direct experience of the invisible. We must sense the immediate presence of life with simplicity and directness. We must sense that the Spirit is at the center of our own lives. We must learn to recognize that it is at the center of all people and working in human affairs. While it is true that the power of God is always within us, it is not true that we have always realized its presence. To realize this is to be able to make conscious use of it, to direct it for ourselves and for others. I rely on my inner peace to work with me in creating this kind of life I deeply desire. I know that within myself I can find the guidance I seek and the strength I need. With love in my heart, knowing I am unbound and unlimited, I accept myself as a happy, healthy, strong, and successful person right here and now. All right. Well, and so let's go back to the title. I form a new concept of God. And that, I'm a big, big, big believer in that. If you ask me, which you didn't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I believe that religion has one job. Religion has one job. Religion has, and that job is to teach community. It is about teaching people how to get along, and to recognize that there is this cord that binds us. You could call it whatever you want. Ernest would call it the divine presence. And a whole lot of the trouble that we get into is because religion teaches community, but it teaches exclusive community. It teaches that we have a cord that binds us, but it doesn't bind every one of us. And then religion also has this concept of God, or concepts, I should say, of God, that can be a little, well, depending on, they can be a little off-putting. I'll phrase it that way. I'm trying to be diplomatic, but yeah. I like to explain the God that I was taught about as the great accountant in the sky. You know, the old man with the white beard that sits on the throne with the book that he checks on whether you've been good or bad. And it's like, isn't that Santa Claus? And the divine presence, or God, or spirit, or the quantum field, whatever word you want to use, is not that. The divine presence, and there's no way for me to articulate all that the divine presence is. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have so many different concepts of God, because we can't articulate everything that God is. It's not possible while we are caught up in what I like to call the mortal coil, which I believe I stole from Shakespeare. So we have all of these concepts of God, and we have all of these words, we have all of these descriptions, and a lot of them are beautiful. And that's a good thing, if we can wrap our heads around not any of them are complete. And that's one of the reasons why I like one of the things that Reverend Jesse said one time, he said it multiple times, is the reason we go to church. The reason we go to church is because we're in this great puzzle of life, and we have all of these pieces. And we go to church occasionally to get a look. Well, I don't know, you can go to church every day, or once a week, but we go to church to get a look at the picture on the box. So while we're busy assembling our puzzle, all of humanity is assembling this puzzle, religion is meant to give us a glimpse of the picture on the box. What are we working towards? Everybody has a concept of heaven. And that's what we're working on. Heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Jesus said we could have it. He said the kingdom's right here, right now, right within you. And that's what I think and that's why I say that the one job of religion is teaching community. And teaching that we all have that divine spark within us. And that's what puts us all in community. And yes, we can have smaller subsets within our community. But that cord that binds us is in every single one of us. And that's what Ernest is arguing today. So, the title is I Form a New Concept of God. I'm firmly behind it. And then the Bible quote from Corinthians, we shall be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. Because that's how quickly it can happen when we recognize the divine presence within ourselves and within everybody else. It's like, oh, I know you. I know you. The power of life, capital P, capital L, within you is a spiritual power, able to bring to you permanent peace, increasing happiness and joy, and greater material abundance. So this is his opening argument. These things that have made man miserable can be eliminated through the conscious use of this power, because it's about the recognition of God within each and every one of us. Not just you, not just me, but in each and every one of us. And I'm not limiting that to the two legs. God is in everything. God is in the four legs. God is in the plants. Everywhere you look, that's God looking back at you. Or, being something that is of assistance to us. God could not visit fear or hate or impoverishment upon us because God transcends these things. These things don't exist within God. And that's one of those tricky, if they don't exist within God, how do they exist here? And I don't have a good answer for you. Outside of that, a whole lot of us have forgotten who we are. The world needs a new concept of God. A new idea must be born in the minds of people everywhere about the nature of God and their relationship to this divine spirit, this divine creative spirit. And that's what that's really where Ernest came from. The underlying thing about Ernest is he's like, look, doesn't matter what you call God. Doesn't matter what you think God is. Well, it does matter what you think God is. Sorry. It does, it doesn't matter what you call God. If you recognize the underlying principle that God is creative, that God is love, that God is energy, that God is peace and harmony and joy, if you recognize all of that, and that's not even listing all of the qualities, and then you recognize that all of those qualities that you just listed are within you because you are a divine spark or a divine splinter or a divine pattern, then you can bring all of that to the surface of yourself. And as you bring that to the surface of yourself, then you recognize it in other people. And you hold the space for them to recognize it within themselves. And then it just spreads. That's science of mind in a nutshell. Well, that's science of mind in my nutshell. Talk to any other science of mind minister and you might get a different nutshell. The only thing that can bring love, joy, peace, and prosperity to the world is a direct experience of the invisible. I would say that maybe another way to say that is a direct experience. Recognizing that you're a child of God, a child of spirit, a child of the infinite, a child of the quantum field. I have many friends that are atheists that are wonderful people. And they want nothing to do with God, partly because they've run into some pretty disagreeable concepts of God over their time. They're good people. And the language doesn't matter as long as the idea behind it does matter. And they are good people. So the direct experience of the invisible, the direct experience of life with a capital L, the direct experience of creativity with the capital C, the direct experience of love with a capital L. Because God with a capital G can get us into trouble. Especially if we get busy telling everybody else that they're wrong. Okay, which is why we don't run around telling people that they're wrong. We're just saying, hey, this is our idea. Try it. You might like it. And if you don't, that's okay too. Oh. Do not get me wrong. We have some ideas about social justice, though. We must sense the immediate presence of life. With the simplicity and directness, we must sense that the Spirit is at the center of our own lives. So, we must sense the immediate presence of life with a capital L, and we must sense the Spirit with a capital S at the center of our own lives. That place that Reverend Jesse talks about, that is the place that nothing has ever been wrong. Or what I like to call that place where we meet the unfiltered God, the unfiltered Spirit. The place where the material noise doesn't exist. Where that peace, that harmony, that love, that joy, all come in the capital letters. Where we go to fill up. And bring it back here. We must learn to recognize that it, capital I, is at the center of all people and working in human affairs. We recognize that divine spark exists in all people. There's nobody that it doesn't exist in. And that is pretty central to our teaching. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. The divine spark is within you. While it is true that the power of God is always within us, it is not true that we have always realized its presence. To realize this is to be able to make conscious use of it, to direct it for ourselves and others. And that's his big drumbeat. Consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. When we make choices, conscious choices, we do better. When we make unconscious choices, the results are mixed. So, power statement. I rely on my inner power to work with me in creating the kind of life that I deeply desire. Okay, I rely on my inner power to work with me. Not for me. With me. Means that I have a responsibility in using it, directing it, claiming what I want. I am a co-creator in this. It's like the power comes through me, and then I direct it outwards to create the life that I want. I know that within myself, I can find the guidance I seek and the strength I need. That divine spark. You go to that place where nothing has ever been wrong, and you meet that unfiltered God. With love in my heart, capital L, knowing I am unbound and unlimited, I accept myself as a happy, healthy, strong, and successful person right here, right now. Say that to yourself every morning. With love in my heart, knowing I am unbound and unlimited, I accept myself as happy, healthy, strong, and successful person right here, right now. I would challenge you, and maybe that can be our mission today. Our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to go look in the mirror. And I say, capital L, with the divine love in our heart, with the love of Spirit, with the love of God, with the love of whatever word you want to use. Look in your eyes and say to yourself that you are unbound, unlimited, that you accept yourself as a happy, healthy, strong, and successful person right here and right now. That's our mission. That is our mission today. Our mission is to encompass that divine love, that capital L love, and accept ourselves. Accept ourselves as the beloved children of God, because we are the beloved children of God, in whom God is well pleased always and forever. There is nothing that we can do to change that. And that's the good news. That is the good news. So it is about recognizing the divine presence within ourselves, the divine spark. And then once we recognize it within ourselves, it's easier to recognize it in each other. So, yeah. That's what's it up today. And tomorrow, we will move into March, which is the month of faith. So that'll be fun. To see what Ernest has to say about faith. But until then, I would encourage you, as I always do, to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. Because you are a child of God. You are beloved. That is who you are. And I would encourage you, well, I don't know what the weather's like out there. It looks cloudy, so it may be cool, it may not. Open the windows. Get some fresh air. Get some fresh perspective. Sunday is a day of rest for a lot of people, so if you don't want to do something to engage your mind and your body, that's okay. You need to rest, and I'm fully on board with that. But do open the windows of your soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you live in heaven now. That is our state of grace. All right, beloveds. So it is Sunday. That means that on Facebook Live at 11 a.m., we will have an amazing service for you. So please come back, join us, because Reverend Jesse was teaching a class this weekend. So to give his voice a rest, we have Reverend Arthur. And if you have not seen Reverend Arthur, oh, he is a treat. He is an absolute treat. So please feel free to check that out. It'll be up on YouTube later. The Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel. And let's see. And Reverend David will be on with you around 5 on Facebook Live. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. Do what you need to do to make it a wonderful day. All right, beloveds, know that you are loved.